Purpose of this reflection is to talk about a time when I was challenged in this class, what happened, what my thought process was, and what the end result was. I think that the time I was most challenged in this class was when we had to use Twitter. The truth is that I actually despise social media. I believe that it has warped human communication and interaction, and I really don't like to be part of it. I think that my reluctance to get involved with Twitter is shown in probably being one of the last ones to send out one of my first tweets. And so when I read the syllabus and learned that we had to actually follow 10 people and tweet out 10 things, I was overwhelmed. I am actually a perfectionist, and so just the actual physical part of tweeting was even hard for me. I was super worried about making a typo or that my tweets would sound ridiculous. And when I tweeted out my first substantive tweet, I actually had my teenage daughter look it over to make sure there weren't any typos and to make sure that it read okay, which she thought was ridiculous. And then I literally hovered over the tweet button for about 15 minutes before I actually posted it, making sure that I really wanted to put that out there for people to read. So I definitely was overthinking it. And then just trying to find something to tweet was really challenging. I'm not an expert in educational technology. I wouldn't even consider myself an expert in teaching. And so in order to tweet on something that was education based or technology based just seemed like this insurmountable hurdle, and I didn't want to sound ridiculous. And so I did a ton of research. I read a lot of articles. I reviewed blogs trying to find the perfect thing to tweet. And I was starting to run out of time because I needed to just get this off my to-do list. So I finally took the plunge and I started tweeting. I started tweeting out about some of the awesome apps that I had learned and some of the cool things I had learned in this class. And as I sent out tweets and started following people, truly the most amazing thing happened, and that is that I have fallen in love with Twitter. So I chose to follow a few of the apps that I really like. I really like Book Creator, I really like Nearpod, and I really like Seesaw. And so I sent out some tweets on that, and then the next thing I knew, I was able to start following those apps, and those apps put out just a ton of resources and information, and I've been able to learn so much more about those apps by using Twitter just to figure out how better to use them and apply them in my classroom. And so in just a few short days, I have gone from absolutely despising social media and never wanting to touch it to like living on my phone and checking for updates and to see what else I can learn. And it's crazy how in just a few short days, I have made this transformation. So the truth is that I am committed to my success, and I will continue to do what is necessary to be a successful teacher. And if part of that is building my social presence or my presence on social media, then I will do that. So I have set a reminder on my phone that once a week I need to tweet something out. So when that reminder goes off, if I haven't tweeted out for the week, I will find something to tweet with the goal that I will look like I have a bigger presence on social media, if that is what appeals to employers. I truly had no idea that social media was such a wealth of information. It is a gold mine, and I am excited to keep exploring it. So when was I challenged? I was challenged to try and use the technology in an area that I wasn't comfortable. What was my thought process? My thought process was avoid it as long as possible, and then try and not look like a complete idiot when using it. And what was the result? Well, once I got my feet wet and I just gave it a shot, I actually fell in love with it. Next, we need to talk about what am I most likely to take away from this course and into my teaching practice. Well, the truth is that I fear the unknown, and with technology, there will always be an unknown for me. I'm just never going to master it completely. There's just too much of it, and I'm getting to the game a little late. And so I have to just come to terms with the fact that there will be this unknown. This course has taught me to believe in myself. Between my trusty friend YouTube and good old Uncle example, Google, I can figure out most things. There's going to be a self-help video out there for me. And my goal here is to incorporate technology into my classroom in a meaningful way. I've learned that technology is just another tool for my educational toolbox, and it's really truly a way for my students to engage with material, and another way for me to bring lessons to life. I've learned that technology is ever changing, so I do need to stay current. Actually, in my quest for finding the perfect tweet, I read a ton of articles and reviewed a lot of blogs in trying to find up and coming apps or things that were super cool for the classroom that are technology based. And so that led me to Nearpod, which I thought was just an incredible app. And so I'm going to work very, very hard on staying current and keeping track of what is new and up and coming. I'm also going to devote myself to the 3 apps that I found that I liked the best, and that is Book Creator, Seesaw, and Nearpod. I think they will give me a lot of opportunities, at least this first year, to make lessons more creative for my classroom and help engage with the material. I'm also going to focus on the 4 C's. I thought that was a really cool concept: creativity, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. I do want my students to learn to code alongside learning to read. I know that one of the reasons that I was so scared to come to this class was that I felt like technology was just uncharted territory, and it truly did terrify me. And I don't want my students to feel that, because technology is going to help transform the future. The best thing I got to read or watch in this class was actually the ISTE keynote speaker, where Jenny talked about teachers as wizards, and I absolutely love this analogy. It completely makes me smile. It warms my heart to think that I am a wizard in training. I am so ready to make some magic and get into the classroom. And so I have actually photocopied or printed out a picture of a wizard hat, and I keep it on my desk to remind me that, yeah, I can be magical for students. Finally, what is one question I have related to technology and teaching? Well, the truth is that as I embark on this world of technology, I'm really concerned that it may suck me up. In the few short days since I started to use Twitter, I find myself constantly on my phone checking for updates and information that I can use to better myself as a teacher. Even working with the software applications that we used in class, I stayed up way too late into the night. I've gotten very little sleep because I'm so fussy about how my end product looks. And so I need to do a better job of balancing technology with the demands of my family and the demands of teaching. And so when is enough good enough? How much is too much? Is it better to be great at a few apps and decent at a few, at many? I don't know. What's the breakout? Is it better to be really good at a couple things and decent at many? I don't know. And as far as teaching goes, how do I squeeze coding into the curriculum? I see the advantages of one-to-one iPads or technology for first graders, which is the grade I want to be in. But what if my school doesn't have that technology? What if I'm limited to time in the computer lab and the lab is run by a different teacher? Well, then what do I do to incorporate technology into my classroom if I don't have that opportunity? When I student teach next year, I'm hoping that I will get a more hands-on view of how integrating technology works in the classroom. It truly is a whole new world, and I'm very, very excited to be a part of it. As a side note, I just wanted to thank you. This class has been by far the most practical of all of my classes, and I have truly enjoyed it. It has been the lifeline of practicality in a sea of educational theory, and when I came into this program, I asked for practical knowledge, and I was sort of laughed at. And so to finally have something that I can say, yeah, I can do this, I can incorporate this stuff into my classroom, brings me quite a bit of joy. So I walk out of here, I think, with more knowledge than I had when I started, and mostly with a belief in myself that I can do this and I can be good at this for my kiddos.